right, welcome everybody to another episode of Rack It Up, where we rank the mundane, the slightly less mundane. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We did this a couple months ago, but we picked out a choose your own adventure book from local library, and we're going to read through it, go on some crazy adventures, and hopefully we'll try and escape from the haunted warehouse. I don't know what that's going to do, but it's going to scare the crap out of us. I'm handy dandy Andy Jerry, joined as always by my adventure mates, the Giggle King, Julian Griffin. How are you today, Julian?
I'm doing all right. I'm ready to escape from a haunted mansion.
I love it. And then I almost said the Giggle King again, but notice me, senpai. It's Andy Mysak. How are you, Andy?
Good.
I'm also ready to
ready.
escape.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to not escape.
Okay.
It's more fun. It's more fun to see the wacky ways you fail.
Absolutely.
You can fail on your own. I want to get out.
So, I remember last time Andy was on this one. Julian, did you read these when you were a kid?
I did not know.
No? Oh, man. You missed out. I'm sorry. These were so much fun. So silly. So what we did last time, the very first page has a bunch of testimonials from kids who read this. This time, though, the kids gave their last names, which didn't happen last time, so we can look these kids up, I bet. But, so their first bit of praise is from Sierra Fischetti, age 10. And it says, adventurous, funny, sometimes terrifying. You haven't lived until you've read this book. So if you want to live, read it.
Well, I'm ready to live.
I've been dead this whole time.
These are way worse than the last one. Amy Cook, age 10, says, if you don't read this book, you will, and I quote, get payback.
Ha!
Amy is a troubled youth.
Don't want Amy's payback. Please don't hurt me.
I don't know what that means. Okay.
Next up is Cody Curran, age 11, and Cody says, warning, 99% chance of death. This book might make you cry.
Ready to live and cry.
I don't like this. Those kids are too violent.
I'm not liking how this is turning out so far.
Yeah, the last one we read, The Trumpet of Terror, was basically like, oh, you can do anything in this book if you want to. And that's much more wholesome.
Get ready to die.
All right.
Ready to cry or die.
This is kind of cool. They've got a little map right here of the entire area. It looks like a game of Clue.
We're going to need to keep going back to that, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I will keep this page bookmarked. And of course, there's a lake called Crystal Lake. God. All right. And the Dahmer Complex. Jesus. Okay. All right. So we found a job application. And it says on page 1, as strange as the ad was, you're desperate enough to find a job that you decide to take a chance. Your gas tank is running empty and the night is dark as you drive past the old crematory on the edge of town. Pulling up to the huge warehouse, you feel a twinge of fear, but you enter the strange building anyway. There's no one on the front room. There's a neatly hand-lettered sign that says warehouse applicants this way. You follow the sign and knock on the open doorway of a small old-fashioned office. Stacks of paper and a telephone are the only things on the desk, except for the nameplate. Warehouse manager, Mr. Del Grady. An old man is wearing a striped suit and a skinny tie. Come on in, you're late, he says without looking up. I don't think so, you reply. He looks up at you and gives a short laugh. Ha, you're late for the graveyard shift. It's 12:01, after the witching hour. You nod in response, not knowing what else to do. You'll be moving items boxed up from the place to place in the building, Mr. Grady explains as he shows you around the huge darkened warehouse. You'll be busy. There's lots to move. Why aren't we shipping, we aren't shipping out from the warehouse, just... What the fuck? Hold on. Oh, okay. Why, you ask, as you follow him into a cavernous storage area with metal shelves rising far above your head? Well, we do ship things, says Mr. Grady. You see, certain items need to be in certain places at specific times. We have a very specialized storage and delivery warehouse. We send things to movies, Hollywood, you know, props and scenery, that kind of stuff. This here's your locker room where you'll change into your work uniform. Mr. Grady, I'm not sure I've actually accepted the job yet. I haven't even filled out the application. Is that so? He says, turning to face you in the weak red light. and the caged emergency bulb. It feels like you're already part of the family. Anyway, you'll be perfect. He says, opening the door to the locker room, and here's a picture of you and Mr. Grady.
I'm already concerned about what's happening here.
Just in the
Wait,
middle
let
of...
me see a picture of Mr. Grady.
Younger than I thought.
Yeah, right?
Oh, wow.
But also, I'm not liking this situation.
Nope.
Oh, neither am I. My God, so many pages before we make a freaking choice. Okay.
It's kind of scary. There's definitely a red flag there when you say it's part of the family.
Yeah.
And you just met the guy.
As you
Part of the
navigate
family.
through the warehouse, you wonder, why did I take this job? I needed the money for tuition and school supplies, gas, and food. After your interview, you scrambled to find something else. A job at the pizza parlor fell through, and Uncle Charlie just couldn't afford to bring you onto his landscaping company.
Uncle Charlie's landscaping.
Fucking Charlie.
Oh, God. You're a true night owl now, spending your days sleeping and your overnights in dark hallways pushing thousands of boxes and crates from room to room. From the day you had your interview until now, everything seemed mysterious. The only cool thing is a powered hand lift that you use to move all the stuff from place to place. The model B200 powered hand truck with the stencil B-Ware1, the warehouse number 1, is your only company most nights. Your assistant helps you lift huge pallets and zip them around. Occasionally, you find yourself talking to Beware1 as if it were a person.
Wait, so Beware One is your assistant, or
It's a hand truck. Here's another picture. It's like a hand truck thing that I guess you talk to
Okay.
because you're lonely.
wow?
Yeah, this is sad, and we're on page 5. It's very sad.
I can definitely see what one of the testimonials was. Get ready to cry. I already want to cry.
I'm ready to cry, baby.
Hot night tonight, Beware, you say out loud. Let's see. The dim, flickering lights that line the hallway give everything a spooky look, and you can't wipe your face because you need both hands to guide Beware when he's all loaded up. With the mass on your buddy, it's hard to stop once it gets moving. The first few times you had to move a big load, you would bang into the walls and go side to side like a bowling ball with bumpers in the gutters. What beautiful imagery for this one, Mr. Anson Montgomery. Just gorgeous. I really know what he's trying to get at. What's in these
Phrasing.
boxes? You wonder for probably the 1,000th time this summer. No one has told you anything about what the warehouse holds. You've not learned much about the company since Mr. Grady's explanation, but at least they pay you well. Mr. Grady scheduled you for the graveyard shift from midnight till 8 a.m., so everything would be in place for the next night. You've only seen Mr. Grady twice since. I'll be in my office down the main corridor, and my door is always open. He must have meant that figuratively, as every time you've passed by it, it's been shut with no light peeking out. The warehouse is a huge complex with a vast network of tunnels connecting multiple buildings. You and Beware work alone, but sometimes you hear other machinery running in the buildings. Occasionally, you'll see dark shadows or lit windows, but you never see anybody else. Each night, you go into the empty locker room to find a list with maps of what you're supposed to move from location to location. Every spot in the warehouse is labeled with numbers and names. Move crate 21 to room 13, take board in box 40 to slot 12, but there's never a description of what is inside. Your reverie is broken by a scream or howl coming from the doorway directly to the left of Beware. Bum, bum, bum. The cart crashes into the wall and you have to dive to keep the boxes from sliding off and hitting the floor. The howl scream stops for a second, but then it starts again. Is it a person or an animal crying in pain? You try the door, but it won't open. Unlike many of the other locked doors in the warehouse, this one does not have a padlock, and the door itself is a flimsy one with loose hinges. You might be able to break it down, or you can go get Mr. Grady. What should you do? The scream starts up again, you've got to do something. So, first decision of the day. Do you want to break the door down yourself, or do you want to go get Mr. Grady and the key?
I ain't a waiter, and I don't like that Grady. I'm breaking the door.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Hold on.
We didn't
just
talk
a
about these decisions,
second.
but that's where I'm at. Convince me otherwise.
First of all, you don't know what that is. You can't just go breaking in. And plus, like, what if Mr. Grady sees that and then we get charged and then we won't end up getting our paycheck?
I just don't want to be near Mr. Grady.
I
I get some weird vibes around Mr. Grady.
I mean, we're already working there. If you really have that many problems with Mr. Grady, then quit. But you can't, obviously.
Yeah, because
So-
Charlie won't give me a job at his lawn care service.
All right, I think we should go back and get Mr. Grady because I don't trust just kicking down a door with a random scream and howl in it. Fuck that.
I'm ready to kick down that door. So, Jarek, it comes to you.
All right. I hate being aggressive in these things. It rarely works out. So I think we should go get Mr. Grady and get the key
Thank
as
you.
well. See what happens. All right,
But
so
when Mr. Grady reaches for your bosom.
My bosom.
All right, so we're gonna go get Mr. Grady. All right, leaving the Beware and running as fast as you can, you head toward Mr. Grady's office. By the time you get there, you're out of breath. Knocking on the door, you gulp in great big breaths of the humid summer air. There's no response and no light shows beneath the door. Deciding you can't wait, you decide to give the doorknob a try and open the door to Mr. Grady's office. Flickering on the light, you see him lying on the floor and he's not moving. Mr. Grady, you say, fear making your voice sound shrill in your own ears. Are you okay? Mr. Grady? Gasping loudly, Mr. Grady sits up from the waist as though he were sitting in a car seat that is being brought up from a full recline. What? Who? He says, blinking and turning his head towards you. His voice is dry and raspy. Mr. Grady, you say, are you okay? Why are you on the floor? There's something screaming in one of the locked rooms. Huh? He says, what room? What kind of scream? I don't know, you reply. Down the hall, it sounds like someone or something's in pain. Well, we don't want that, he says.
Oh, no shit.
Mr. Grady, I don't like you.
Oh my God, you're asking all these damn questions. God,
He's not a man of action, Mr. Grady.
clearly not.
Yeah, we should have went with my idea, the true way.
Hold on now. We don't want that, he says, laughing. He uses the edge of his desk and to pull himself up and shakes his leg, wiggles his foot. Must have lost blood flow to my foot. I'll need a minute or two for the pins and needles to pass.
What were you doing?
Oh my good God almighty. All right. Take the master key, Mr. Grady says, handing you a large ring of keys. The key that he's holding is deep black, so black that it's shining. I'll be right behind you. You were hoping that Mr. Grady would go with you, but you have no choice but to run ahead by yourself. The sound has stopped, and you can't remember exactly which room it was coming from. They all look the same. You hear something coming from the hall behind you, and you look over your shoulder to see a limping, dark figure coming towards you. You feel a cold flush of fear. But then the figure passes under one of the lights, and you see it's just Mr. Grady. You turn the lock on one of the doors and open it, glad that you're not completely alone. The room is dark, and you fumble for the light switch. The screaming noise is coming from a metal desk in the middle of the room. It's a doll. A red-headed doll holding a knife in its left hand while screaming. The tiny mouth moves with the warbling of the howl. Backing away, you bump into Mr. Grady as he comes into the room. Oh, that's all it is, Grady says as he moves past you and heads right to the doll. Picking it up, he turns it over and fumbles with the back for a second. The howling stops. What is that thing? You ask, your voice shaking. It's just a doll, Grady says, walking towards you, holding out the creepy doll for your inspection. Don't worry, Charlie won't hurt you. It isn't a real knife. Here, take a look. And here's the doll.
I like how its name is Charles instead of Chucky.
Yeah,
Why
right.
do I feel like I've seen that before?
It looks like the Goosebumps doll.
Yeah, it's from. It's
It does look like the Goosebumps doll.
And Toy Story 4.
It's got the same
And
name
Are
as
You
Chucky.
Afraid of the Dark, I think.
Yeah. Alright, so the doll's eyes are wide set with enormous pupils, and its smiling mouth has red drops of blood trickling from the left side. Even though you can tell that the knife is plastic, you don't take the doll from Grady's outstretched hand. Alright, oh boy, we got a choice coming up. Alright. Charlie here is from a movie that was made years ago. This office This office belongs to our chief financial officer, Otis Toole. He handles all our bills and payments. Not sure why he had Charlie here in the office? Okay, I don't know why he's questioning that. Grady says, pulling the doll back on the desk. Maybe someone else in finance was playing a prank on Otis. They sometimes get carried away with their little games. I think I need to sit down or take a break or something, you tell Grady. Still scared from the screaming knife-wielding doll. So sorry that you got caught in the prank war, Grady says. But we really have a lot to do tonight. I could get you a pill for your nerves. It'll make you feel better.
Please tell me the choice is to take the pill or not.
Yes.
I'm not taking the
No,
pill
I'm
from
not taking
Mr.
no
Grady.
damn pill from Mr. Grady.
All right, let me finish the paragraphs. What's in the pill, you ask, only considering it because of how upset you are? Can I just lie down in the break room? Maybe you don't need this job after all, and you can go home and never come back. Well, I suppose so, Grady says, but I'd prefer it if we got everything done first. This pill is just a homeopathic remedy, nothing dangerous or illegal.
Oh, I am not taking that fucking pill.
I'm
So,
good.
if you push Mr. Grady to let you lie down, thinking you might just go home, turn to page 32, or if you choose to take the pill to settle your nerves, turn to page 63. So I think we're all agreeing, don't take the pill from the weird man.
No.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go lie down and see what happens. All right. Well, just lie down then, Mr. Grady says, pointing to a cot near the employee locker room. This is for when we need to work around the clock. Aren't we doing that? We're here at night and then the day shift comes in, right? You ask as you sit on the cot. No, this is just a maintenance shift. You should see when it gets really crazy. People bouncing off the walls, working under death lines. I'll come back in an hour, but then we really need to get back to work. Okay, you say, lying down on top of the thin blanket. Mr. Grady closes the door to the small room, leaving you in darkness. You hear a clunk, and it sounds like a bolt lock sliding into place. You hope that's not the case.
Oh God, we should have taken the pill.
Stumbling forward in the darkness, you search for the light switch and the door at the same time. You find the switch and turn on the bulb and try the door. The doorknob turns, but the door is still held fast. You are locked in. Uh-oh. Alright, next. You search the small room, but there's no way out. Having nothing better to do, you lie down on the cot, and soon you're asleep. Rats are gnawing at you in your dreams, and your hands are covered in bites from the vermin. You wake up to a man and woman you don't know standing over you, staring down.
Oh,
He
no.
is youngish. Yeah, this is fucking weird. He is youngish in his 30s and almost skeletally thin. She is old with a grumpy face and squinting eyes. Both have stern looks and they're wearing professional business attire. The woman holds a manila folder in her hands and you see your name on the label. Good, you're awake, says the man. My name is James Hepburn, and this is my associate, Muma Paduri.
Uma Paduri.
Muma Paduri. We're from Human Resources. The Home Office sent us. He sounds English. I didn't know he was going to sound English. That wasn't even close to English, but we'll go with what I'm doing. Good morning, the woman says. She speaks perfect English, but still sounds Eastern European. Maybe Romanian? How does this point? What the fuck are Romanian persons?
It's like, I
What
can't
kind of accent?
pinpoint it, but I'm gonna guess Romanian.
It was between that and Belarusian. Alright, huh? You mumble, sitting up. Your hands are bite-free, and that makes you glad at least. What are you talking about? Well, Mr. Grady advised us that you were thinking about leaving our firm, and we came to talk to you about it. In fact, we believe that after you speaking with us, you'll reconsider your decision, Miss Paduri says. It's just a summer job, and I'm just a kid. Mr. Grady locked me in here, and that's illegal. I quit, and I want a lawyer. And here's the picture of Mrs. Paduri and James Hepburn. There's a manila folder.
I like how our main character, he does some stuff that the other main character didn't do, like defend himself. Like, no, I quit, and I'm gonna fucking sue you.
Right. Alright. I'm sorry you feel that way, Mr. Hepburn says, but that's not really possible. You signed an employment contract. Why don't you calm down? Don't tell me to calm down, you say, your voice rising. This is ridiculous. I'm out of here. Calm down. The old woman snaps at you and you fall silent. You have no choice. Contract was signed. If you continue, I will make a note in your file, and you don't want a second note in your file. She holds her pen threateningly above the folder with your name. Go ahead. Fire me. Enough of this, Mr. Hepburn says, breaking in. Let's move on. Anyway, due to your attitude, we're going to have to do some team-building exercises. This will help you bond with your coworkers.
What coworkers?
Is this a joke? Not funny. I don't have any coworkers except for Mr. Grady. No joke. says Miss Pedori. Soon you will meet your coworkers. You do have a choice to make, though. Yes, most assuredly, says Mr. Hepburn, breaking into a disturbing smile. Life is full of choices. So are you management or labor? What? Excuse Mr. Hepburn, Miss Pedori says, shooting him a nasty look. He married into royalty and he has a hard time sympathizing with the common folk.
Common folk. I want to leave. I don't give a shit where you're from. I want to go home.
Listen, commoner.
I treat all the children all the same. Hold on. I treat all people the same, except for children. I love children. All right,
I want out real fast.
You shudder. She is creepy. Her eyes glow with hunger, and she licks her lips in a way that reminds you of a wolf. Who are these people? Maybe you can force your way out of the door. As if reading your mind, Mr. Hepburn pushes the door closed with his foot and stands in front of it. You'll be in team-building exercises all day and you will be judged on your performance, he says. This is very important for your place in the firm, so do not fail. Do you want to be the team leader, or do you want to be part of the team? If you're the leader, you will get a better reward if you succeed. If you fail, your punishment will be more severe. As I said before, management or labor. You don't want to take part in the exercises, whatever they are, and the whole thing is bizarre, illegal, and scary. Maybe you should just be part of the team and not try to do anything stupid, but if you do that, then you won't be able to control what your team does. What if the leader is incompetent and you fail as a result? So, do we want to become the leader of the team-building exercises, or not be part of the team and not risk the more severe punishment? So, leader or team?
Before we do that, when I heard she licks her lips and all that, I thought of this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Is it a cherry?
God.
Yeah.
He's trying to do the tie the cherry stem in a knot thing with his tongue.
No, just JoJoing. They
Oh.
do a lot of weird things with tongues in that show.
Oh. All right. What are you guys thinking? Are we a leader? Or
Does
not?
the leader mean I can leave whenever I want?
That's true.
Because, look, I don't want to be anywhere near any of these people, especially
Well, yeah,
the one that
'cause-
loves children.
In management, it's like they might have you do like a bunch of tasks that you don't want to do, and you have to be closer to them. But then if you're part of labor, then
You get locked
whoever
in a
is
room.
in charge of management is basically in control of what you do. So leaving might be harder. I don't know. Whatever is gonna get us closer towards the exit door.
I guess how likely am I to be locked in a room like this if I'm a leader? Is there a third option? Like,
Never.
punch the old woman in the throat and run?
Or death
Nope, just
by
those.
asphyxiation.
I see why we want to cry now. Maybe we should have taken the pill.
This one's pretty serious. Now again, it says if you're a leader, you risk a more severe punishment if you fail task.
And she likes children, right? I
Yeah,
don't like any of this.
I don't like this at all.
it's not a good choice.
Alright, I'm gonna choose a laborer. I feel like I could sneak under the radar a little more. They'll be less focused on me, and there's no severe punishment.
True.
I don't know what that means, but I don't like any part of severe punishment.
Okay, so like, what is the reward for a good job done though?
I don't need her. The reward would be getting out of this not dead, and I don't think that's
In that
one of
case,
the rewards
yeah.
they're given.
I'm with you. I don't want anything that they're giving, but my only concern is that if you choose laborer, you might have more restrictions on you, making it harder to leave. But who knows?
Oh, that's a good point. Jarek, where are you? I know you're kind of waiting
Yeah.
for us, but I need to hear the reader's opinion here.
Right. I mean, how sociopathic do we want to be? Because I assume if we become the leader, we can tell other people just to do whatever we want. But
Yeah,
we
but that
also
means
don't really
also-
know what the freedom means.
That
Also-
also would mean like we could, fail a task if we're like that.
Also, how selfless are we as a group? Because if we're the leader, we might be able to save others as well.
We don't even know how many people are going to be on our team. Like it could
Well,
just be
that's the
one
thing,
person,
though.
it could be
Even
10.
if it's one, we're saving.
I guess.
How selfless are we as a group? I say I'm not selfless at all in this instance. Get me the fuck out of here. But it's worth bringing
I
it up.
agree.
Yeah, I'm not particularly selfless either.
All right.
So do you want to stick with just being part of the team and not risking the extra severe punishment if you mess up?
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
Alright.
here's my question before we move on. I feel like if we are the leader and thinking fourth wall with this, there's going to be a choice where it's going to help us escape easier, or we hit the severe punishment if we're the leader. I think that's like going to be fourth wall breaking here. The easiest way to get out is figuring out the right decision later on. Whereas we're a laborer, it's going to take longer.
I see what you mean.
So are we going to be labor and do slow and steady? Or are we going to go gangbusters and be leader?
This sounds a lot like the first decision when you wanted to bust the door down instead of going to get the key from Mr. Grady. Julie and I both picked slow and steady, get the key.
I choose be a leader.
I don't know if it was the right decision yet, Julian.
Yeah, I'm going be a leader now. I talked myself into it. We have more control over the situation.
Might have more control over the situation.
Sure.
Yes,
We don't
keyword
even
is
know
might
what the
there.
situation
Yes.
is.
I still am taking that risk. You could join me
I
in
don't know.
that.
I just had this horrible idea that maybe that doll or whatever happened to the chief financial advisor, whoever the fuck his name was, Chad,
It's gonna happen to us.
Otis, might happen to us. And
That's
he
true.
was a leader.
That could have been him. He could have been transformed into that doll or something.
That's a good call. But then that's gonna come down to our decision making.
I'm gonna have to stick to my guns on this one. I think we should be labor.
Slow and steady didn't do us well last time. Gangbusters, we're a leader. Jared, what is your decision?
Oh God. You know what? I'm gonna stick with my guts. I will also turn us into a regular old laborer and hopefully
Fair
avoid
enough.
the awful punishment.
Fair enough.
All right, so we are going. What page is that? 60. Okay, 116. All right, so you are introduced to your teammates. Both, so only two of them, are about your age. Hi, I'm Malik, says the boy, pulling out his hand. I'm the leader. Oh, and such amazing leader you are, the girl says sarcastically. I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you both, I guess, you say, shaking their hands. Malik's grip is firm, but he doesn't try and crush your hand. Sarah's is equally firm. Anybody
Good handshakes from these gents and gentle
That's a good
ladies.
start. Nice to meet you both, I guess. Anyone have any idea of what's going on? The three of you are in a cabin in the middle of the woods. Hepburn and Paduri brought you there in an old jeep. Even though the sun was shining, it still seemed like nighttime and things were very vague and misty. No idea, says Sarah, but I'd love to get out of this place, like right now. She's tried to open one of the locked windows. I knew I shouldn't have taken that housekeeping job at the Lizzie Borden House B&B. Boo. My friend said, don't work there, that place is haunted. But they paid twice what any other place did. I lay down to get a nap and I woke up with Mr. Hepburn and Miss Paduri in my face. Well, I was working as a busboy at the Stanley Hotel, you know, like The Shining, adds Malik. Everything was pretty normal except for yesterday I whacked my head on a tray that was pushed out of the kitchen. And my boss, who's pretty cool for a boss, said to lie down in his office. I fell asleep and then Skeletor Hepburn and his buddy came to take me here. How'd you end up here? I don't know. I was working in a haunted place, you say, looking around the cabin. It's very rustic with a wood stove, rough-hewn tables and chairs, and 3 bunk beds built next to the walls. Water comes from a jug positioned above the sink, and a bowl of fruit sits in the middle of the table. Light still filters into the room. But sort of the same thing happened to me. One minute I was lying down after my boss locked me in a room, and the next thing you know, Creeper 1 and Creeper 2 were there, and now I'm here. But what are we supposed to do? Asks Malik. I thought you were the leader, Sarah teases, but with an edge. I think we just wait. I guess, but first I'm going to try and get out of here. After a couple of hours, the 3 of you give up on trying to break out, eat all of the fruit, parentheses, bananas, apples, oranges, kiwis, and pomegranates. and fall into a stupor halfway between consciousness and sleep. It's those fruit sweats that are just coming to get you. You got the fruit sweats.
What is the fruit sweats?
It's like the meat sweats when you're eating a big beefy dinner and you just start sweating and feeling uncomfortable. Except it's with fruit now. All right. No light comes through the shuttered windows, and a thick envelope is pushed under the door. Team exercise number 1 is written with precise calligraphy on the outside of the envelope. Malik picks it up and opens it, and you and Sarah peer over his shoulder to read the letter. The inside is written similar to an invitation. You have been selected to join in the Wild Hunt, aka the most dangerous game. Location, Crystal Lake. Dress code.
Should have broke the door down.
We can go back. Dress code, casual/tactical. Time, midnight till dawn. Objective, get away. Survivors will be rewarded. Listen to your leader. No RSVP required. This is going to be awful, Sarah says.
Malik, you better lead us into freedom.
What time is it, you ask? They took my phone and I don't have a watch. No idea. Same here, Malik says, and as he finishes, you hear the lock click and the front door swings open. There's no one there, but the night is hot and dark. My guess is that it's starting soon. Let's get out of here. The three of you creep out of the cabin, but you don't see anything or anyone nearby. When the moonshine comes through the clouds, you see that there are 2 well-worn paths, as well as the road, leading away from the cabin and in different directions. Far away above the trees, you see red, blue, and green lights swirling together. The sound of a distant hunting horn comes with the wind. Fear washes over you, and you feel the need to run. I think we should split up, Malik says, turning to you and Sarah. Are you kidding me? You reply, looking at him. That's stupid move number 1 in any horror movie. Listen, I'm the leader, Malik says, and I say that we split up. They can't chase us all at once this way, and it's the only way that we have a chance. That's cute, Sarah says, her voice thin. You think we have a chance? Do you even know what the Wild Hunt is? Nobody gets out alive. I'm not giving up. I'm just taking the road. Don't follow me, Malik says, running away from you two. He doesn't look back, and the lights in the sky are getting closer, and the horn is braying louder. Oh, God. Fine, you say. What do you want to do, Sarah? Well, I think Malik is right in this case. Good luck.
Wow.
You jog down the other path at a steady pace, and you come to a clearing on top of a hill that gives you a view. You see the lake and the outline of a mountain. The colored lights head away from you toward the road that Malik took. The lights dive toward the ground and disappear. You hear 3 sharp blasts of the horn, and then the howling and yipping of excited hounds. Trying not to think what that means, you head off toward the mountain. Later, you hear the horn and the yipping and the howling again. You shudder and keep going. The terrain becomes steeper, but the trees start to thin out. There's not a lot of cover. You hear the horn, and it seems like it's a lot closer. Looking over your shoulder, you see lights closing in on you. Exhausted, you scramble to the top of a boulder, grab a fist-sized rock, and turn to face the hunt. You see helmeted beings riding horses made of light, wielding spears and bows. The stag-horned figure in front blows 3 sharp blasts from the horn, and the host descends out of the sky straight towards you. You can see the black steam coming from the nostrils of the light horses, and one of the ghost riders lifts its arm to throw a spear. You respond by hurling your rock, but it falls well short of the nearest rider. Here's a picture.
That's not terrifying.
That was a
The hunt.
Okay. You're afraid, but you don't move. You can't run any longer, and you're too tired to continue. The flying host gallops down at you. The rider launches its spear, but at that moment, the first ray of dawn strikes from the far horizon. With no noise or any other indication that the murderous host was there, they disappear. You're alone on top of your boulder, and the sunrise is the most beautiful of your whole life. From that moment on, you gain a confidence in yourself that allows you to achieve great things. There's no sign of Malik, Sarah, or the cabin, but you know you did not dream what happened. The end.
What?
That's it.
We survived.
And we gained confidence.
The best ending.
And then later, that young man turns out to be Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk.
Looks like we made the right choice, Julian.
Yes, we did. Slow and steady.
All you had to do was be hunted. No trauma there.
He hardly got hunted.
Here's what I'm thinking. All of them there didn't take the pill. What happens if you take the pill?
So you want to go back and start from taking the pill?
Yeah, let's take that pill.
All right, let me try.
I think we all agreed not to take the pill because...
Or do you want to start where you bash in the door?
I feel like the big changing point was to take the nap or take the pill.
These are all pretty big decisions, and a lot of crazy shit happened. So, okay.
All right, so choose.
Yeah,
right,
you die. The end. Oh. Don't take the pill.
All right, so remember that we got caught in a prank war with that crazy, creepy doll, and we're gonna choose the pill to settle our nerves. Moving the page, 63. All right. You take the small white pill from Mr. Grady and choke it down without any water. Almost immediately, you feel the soothing warmth spread from the middle of your being to the tips of your tingling fingers. Better? Grady asks with a lopsided smile. Now we can get back to work. Lots to do before morning. We have all sorts of productions going on in the next few nights. Sure, you respond, slurring a little. Let's go. The next few hours pass in a pleasant haze. All of your worries from before have dissolved into the warmth of the pill. What was it? You wonder, but not in a way that really matters. You move boxes, crates, pallets, and racks from one part of the warehouse to another. You're productive and happy, and you zip along with your friend, the Beware electric handcart. Time seems to slow and speed up at the same time. Part of you feels like you've only just begun, while another feels like you've been doing this task for days, months, years, and centuries. You hum a little happy song to yourself. What a great guy Mr. Grady is. Then, everything starts to darken. At first, you think it's just the lights, but they stay at the same brightness. Things seem thicker, darker, scarier. Your heart beats faster. You look up and around you, and you're in a large stage area somewhere below the main complex. The ceiling rises high above you, and boxes are piled all around. Directly in front of you is a trailer-sized platform with a grand staircase set in the middle. The broad steps lead down to a black and white checkered floor, and the only lights in the large room are from weak bulbs widely set apart high above. Everything is dimmed except for the woman in the brown dress floating down the staircase. Who are you? You squeak, dropping the box you had in your hands and backing away from the advancing glowing woman in the brown dress. She doesn't say anything. Her face is mostly covered by a veil, but her eyes appear as empty holes of blackness. She reaches the bottom of the stairs and floats over the checkered floor towards you. There's a beautiful picture there of our terrifying, deathly ghost woman. All right. Stumbling backwards, you bump into the back wall. You look over at the door, but the woman in the brown dress has left the platform and has floated most of the distance across the floor to where you are. Reaching around desperately, you find a broom that's leaning against the wall. Grabbing it in your hands, you hold it in front of you like a sword. Stop! You yell, and the figure pauses for a moment before moving towards you again. What do you do? So do you attack the floating ghost with a broom, or do you decide not to anger the ghost and try to talk to it instead?
Well, talking definitely didn't work the first 8 times that you tried, so...
The maggot with a broom.
Attack her with a broom.
All right, we're going to attack the ghost with a broom. Okay. Cocking back the broomstick, you swing it without warning. Yeah. You don't put your whole body into it, as you know that ghosts are sometimes supposed to be ethereal beings. The broomstick passes through the body of the brown lady without any resistance. Aw, crud, you say.
Aw, crud.
Accurate.
Then, trying to make the best of the situation, sorry about that. You will pay for that indignity, the brown lady screeches at you. She floats towards you, hands outstretched. You wait in fear, not moving, but the brown lady seems to be slowing as she nears you. Run while you can! She wiggles her hands threateningly. There's a clear path to the door leading away, and the brown lady hovers as if politely waiting her turn to go through. Why? Dropping the broomstick, you decide to stay still and see what happens. You can't touch me, can you? You say. You don't have power over the real world. All you can do is scare people. Why do you do it? Do not tempt me, mortal. I come back from death to avenge the wrongs done to me. She hisses, staring at you with her empty holes of eyes. You shiver despite trying to appear brave. Reaching forward quickly with your hand, you watch as the brown lady snatches her arm away from you, and she backs away. Your connection to the real world is thinly bound. She spits at you as she floats away, before turning and putting her finger to your forehead. You feel nothing. She removes it and recedes. This way. You have been touched. You stand there shaking for minutes before pulling yourself together and going to find Mr. Grady. Enough is enough, and after what happened here tonight, you know you're getting away. Mr. Grady doesn't seem surprised when you tell him what you saw and why you're leaving. He gives you $31 coins in severance, counting them out one by one and giving his creepy laugh. 30 pieces! Go then! You've been touched! You shiver. Ever since that night you've been touched. Wait, ever since that night you have been touched. Why didn't you taunt the brown lady by grabbing at her? You aren't sure, but being touched is not all that bad. Seeing ghosts all over the place is exhausting and often disturbing, as their deaths are usually violent or very, very sad. Ghosts are all very self-centered. They always want to talk about themselves and never ask how you're doing. However, you'll learn to become more sympathetic to their plights. Your job as the foremost ghost whisperer and exorcist relies on your special ability to see and communicate with the dead. When you do your job well, the restless spirit finds a sense of peace, and the humans who have to deal with it get relief. When the job goes poorly, things get hectic. Some of the images you've seen almost break you. The end.
Hey, I like this ending better. Ghost Whisperer.
And there's a picture of all of these ghosts at a diner or something.
I'd already be annoyed. I don't get paid for this shit.
We got you $31 coins. I guess those are supposed to keep you going for a while.
In 2011, that buys you, what, a few gumballs?
Yeah, right. Half a tank of gas. All right. Do we want to do one more?
Julian?
If not, that's fine too.
Okay. How long have we been going for so far?
A little under an
minutes.
hour.
Huh?
Probably about
Okay,
45
I think
minutes.
I got time for just one more.
All right. Let's see. So,
Should we kick the door down? And fight Chucky ourselves?
yeah, we could either kick the door down. We could not anger the ghost and try and talk to it instead, even though we did that.
Julian. Or
I
we
wanna
could
try
become
kick-
the leader.
Sure.
But I already kind of know what the leader is going to be, is you have to make that decision about splitting up or not.
Yeah, and I kind of want to know what happens when you kick the door down.
Okay.
I do too.
Through the door. All right, that'll be the last one. There's 14 endings, and we've gotten to 2 of them so far.
Honestly, wait, if I just non sequitur, if we can go back to the talking to the ghost instead of swinging, it's kind of stupid because like we had the option to talk to the ghost, but then at the end ended up talking to a bunch of ghosts.
Right.
What was the point? I feel like the same thing would have happened. We talk to her and then become a ghost whisperer.
Yeah.
All right, we'll break the door down instead. It sounds like the best part. Okay, so pushing the trolley out of the way with all your strength, you slam your shoulder against the door, but it doesn't break. You try again, and while it rattles in the frame, it holds firm. Wiping your brow, you look at the Beware unit. Of course, you say out loud to yourself. Using the Beware as a battering ram, you get some speed and smash into the door. It splits in two, but the Beware gets lodged in the opening, blocking your way. It takes you a minute or two to pull it back out, and meanwhile the screaming doesn't stop. It gets worse. You crawl under the broken door into the dark room where the noise is coming from. Taking out your phone and putting it into flashlight mode, you look around. The noise is coming from the corner of the room, but it's empty. All you see is a large utility sink with water streaming out of the faucet. Maybe there's an animal trapped in the sink that's making the noise. Approaching it cautiously, ready for a trapped rat or raccoon, you shine the light in the basin. All you hear is water swirling in the whirlpool down the drain. The scream continues, and the sound is coming from the water as it drains out of the sink. Turning both knobs to shut off the water, you relax as the scream stops and the last of the water empties. It's the water all along. Alright. Sitting down on the floor with your back against the wall, you wonder how you'll explain the broken door to Mr. Grady. But you're relieved. The screaming was nothing bad. Taking a few deep breaths and gathering yourself, you look around the room. Dirty laundry is heaped in the corners, and on the far wall, shelves are stocked with detergent and other cleaning supplies. Then you look at the door. Since you broke only the bottom part with the trolley, the top is still closed and intact. The manual sliding lock is still in the locked position. The door was locked from the inside, and there's no way out of this windowless laundry storage room. How is that possible? Alright, don't get freaked out, you say out loud to yourself, and then the pile of the laundry starts to move. Backing towards the door, you're actually relieved when a huge rat with glowing red eyes comes scuttling out of the sheets. It scurries up the wall and disappears into a black hole near the ceiling. You move toward the pile the rat crawled from and pull off the top sheet. You jump back and give a little scream and you see 4 rat pups searching for their mother.
Aww.
What are you doing? A voice booms from the darkness behind you. Another little scream escapes and you swing around and pick up your flashlight. Mr. Grady squints back in the bright light. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, he says. But why is the B200 powered hand truck smashed into the door? I heard something screaming in here, but it was the sink's drain, and then I found these rats and the baby rats. Over there, you babble, pointing. Grady laughs his sharp laugh. Ah, the haunted sink. I should have warned you about that. It makes quite the racket. Certainly unnerving, I know.
Fuck you, Grady.
Makes quite the... Okay.
Quite the racket. We'll have to pull out a replacement and leave a note for the maintenance crew. As for the rats, he says, striding to the wall and flickering on the lights, we'll need to put out poison, unfortunately. I've been meaning to deal with that, but it keeps slipping my mind. Which would you like to do? Go get the poison bucket or the door? The poison bucket is heavy, but it's just down the hall from the locker room. The replacement door is in the Dahmer annex on the far side of the property, he says, pointing to one of the windowless walls, as though you could tell where he means. These hollow core doors are light enough for one person to carry, no problem. Not a dead body. No, not like a dead body. Grady laughs again as if it's a joke, but you don't.
It's not a funny joke.
Yeah, you don't join in. So, do we choose to get the poison bucket or the replacement door?
We're gonna find a dead body if we go for the door.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, are we going to find a dead body?
That could be the case. So we want to do the poison bucket instead?
I want to do the
The
door.
dead
'cause I
body,
wanna
yeah.
know-
Well, you want the dead body.
Yeah, I want to see if there's a dead body by that door.
Okay, dead body it is. Off to the replacement door. Okay, I'll get the replacement door, you tell Mr. Grady without much enthusiasm. Looking around a big bucket of homemade poison doesn't sound fun or safe. Great, I'll show you how to get there, he says, pulling a facility map out from his pocket. Even after a couple months, you haven't been in most of the buildings, and even those you've been in have lots of rooms that you've left unexplored. You're still nervous after the moaning sink and the rats, but excited to go see more of the unknown parts of the complex. First, go out into the loading area, then across the parking lot to the storage facility. Take this key, he says, removing a large green key from his keyring. And remember to leave a note for the maintenance crew about the door. You don't want them thinking someone broke in and stole it. Why aren't there security guards here? You ask, having an
Seriously.
opportunity to find out the answer to a question that's been built up in your mind. It seems like there should be, as there's lots of expensive equipment. There isn't even a guard at the parking gate, just a combination lock. Well, we've never had much trouble with people trying to break in here. Most people seem to avoid this place naturally, Grady says, looking straight into your eyes. You should get going. We still need to get the night's work done. You turn on the flashlight on your phone as you near the Dahmer annex, but only have 22% of the battery left. The flashlight drains it quickly. You find the maintenance shop door and open it with a large key. From the light of your phone and the glowing red sign in the far corner, you see all sorts of materials. Cans of paint, brushes, workbenches, and a large variety of bladed tools are strewn about. A series of scythes, from handheld to enormous, are lined up on a bench with a range of sharpening tools scattered around them. You make your way to the back of the shop and find another door with building supplies written on it. Hopefully, this is where they keep the doors. Opening it, you hear a shuffling noise in the blackness. Anyone there? You ask in a thin voice. Fumbling with the phone, you find the light switch and turn it on. Rows of windows, boards, latches, knobs, sills, and doors are stacked neatly in shelving. Putting the phone away, you turn to your left and freeze. A little girl, maybe 9 or 10 years old, is looking up at you from the back of one of the shelves. Her legs are pulled up in her hands, and you can tell she's trying to hide. Who are you, and what are you doing here? You ask her.
Like this.
Trying to calm her and yourself. The last thing you were expecting was a 9-year-old girl in jeans and a red sweater. You're not going to tell on me, are you? She asks. Who are you? You repeat, reaching out your hand. She backs away from you, but answers in a small voice. I'm Mary. It's okay, Mary. Why are you here? Where are your parents? They're dead, she says, closing her eyes and scrunching as far away as possible.
Mary, that was blunt.
Don't tell on me. And this is Mary.
Can I ask a question at what time period this takes place? Because they've got like robotic hand trucks and cell phones with lights, but then he gets paid at like shillings.
I know. It feels like it's like the 30s? I have no clue.
But then he's like, I whipped out my cell phone with a light. I'm like, oh.
And flashlight mode.
Yeah.
So clearly this has to be
like
in a really old warehouse from like the 20s, 30s, or maybe even like 10s.
But he has
or
a cell phone,
1800s.
so like,
And he has a cell phone.
Does the story take place in like 2010 or 1910? And they just have technology in the 1910s?
Is it steampunk-ish?
Alright. Tell on you for what? You ask gently, leaning towards her. You hold her hand back, not wanting to startle her again. Don't tell! Don't tell! I'm warning you! She says, opening her eyes and leaning at you with a grimace on her face. Where did you come from? Why are you hiding in here? I'm looking for the door out. But this room doesn't have a door out. It's just a storage room. We have to go through the workshop. Stupid silly, she says. I'm looking for the way out, not the way back in. I need to find my mama's ring. What ring? My mama's ring. I just said that, you moron. Will you help me find it? It's here someplace.
Listen,
He's
Mickey
been
Mouse.
mad insulting for somebody who wants help.
Yeah, right? She's hiding all in a box.
She totally killed her parents. That's what we're not telling here, isn't it?
I need to find the ring. It's here somewhere. She looks like she's going to cry. Please help me find it. Look, it's 2:37 in the morning, you say, talking as you take your phone out of your pocket to check the time. You should be at home. Even if your parents are dead, you should be at home.
Where?
Go live in your big empty house that reminds you of your dead parents.
What's your phone number? I don't know, Mary says sulkily. Look, you say, tired by the whole night and exasperated by the girl. I have to get this door back to the main building. Why don't you come with me? We'll find Mr. Grady and... No! 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 She shouts, shaking in her hiding spot. You said you wouldn't tell! You're not sure what to do. Mr. Grady is waiting for you to come back with the door, and you still have the boxes to move tonight. You don't have time to deal with a hiding kid in the middle of this crazy warehouse. Where'd she come from? How did she get here? The door to the shop was locked. What should you do? Really, you know, the right and proper thing would be to take her back to the main building and call the police. You would use your cell phone, but the whole area is a dead zone, and you have to use the landline at Mr. Grady's office. But you seem to get scared when you mention Mr. Grady. Maybe you should just help her find the ring, and if you don't find it in a few minutes, you can take her to the office then. So do we want to help Mary look for the ring, or do we want to tell Mary that you won't tell on her, but you need to call somebody to let them know she's here?
I don't want to betray her trust, so I'm not going to tell on her. Me personally.
I think this kid's a murderer. I think we don't tell Mr. Grady, right? So no one needs to meet Mr. Grady here, right?
No one needs to meet Mr. Grady.
So we could just call the police and maybe have Mr. Grady arrested. Maybe we find out that Mr. Grady's behind something, or this girl's a murderer, and then we get both of them out of here and we're done.
Could be. So we don't want to help her look for the ring. We just want to tell her that you need to call somebody.
I think we're split here.
Yeah, I don't want to betray her trust, and I just want to help her get the ring.
I wanna fuck. Oh, but if we get the ring, what if she died too and the ring is her way into the afterlife?
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright. So, minor spoilers. No matter which decision we make, the end is fairly close. We won't have to make another choice before we get to the end of the story.
Yeah, I'm going with the ring.
I'm going with...
Come on, Andy. Let's go with the ring. Let's help
Let's
the
just
poor
do the
girl.
ring. Let's get this girl. Let's get this girl to the afterlife.
All right. So we want to
Away from Mr. Grady.
She gets the ring and pulls out a revolver and shoots you.
Boom! And you're dead.
All right. You promise that you'll help me find my mama's ring? Mary says, inching slowly out of her hiding spot. She looks up at you and suddenly seems much older. She's not really my mama, you know. She's the mother of us all. All who? You ask. Are there other children in this warehouse? Some, Mary answers, as well as those who are no longer children. We are all ages, I guess, or any age. Okay, you agree, not knowing what she means, but I have to get to work, so the sooner we find the ring, the better. Where did you last see it? It's in a box, and the box is supposed to be in this room. It's a special box made of sandalwood and cedar. Let's get searching, you say, wondering why you agreed to this. She seems so persuasive. You search the whole workshop, but come up empty-handed. Really, you searched. Mary just watched and pointed out things to move. The only place you don't look is a drawer below the bench locked with a simple combination lock. No dice, kiddo, you said. We need to get out of here and find someone to come get you. Please, just try the locked drawer, she pleads. It has to be in there. It's locked for a reason, you counter. Please, implores Mary. She starts to cry. I'll never be able to rest, ever. None of us will. Just try it one time. I may know the code. I just want to see the ring for a second. You can put it right back. Okay, you say. I'll give it one more try, but no more messing around after that. You need to get to bed. I long for rest. Use 9696 in the lock. It's the same from up or down. Mama likes that. You put the combination in and the lock springs open. Inside the drawer is a wooden box in the middle of a wicker basket. A peaceful smell pours into you. Gently, you pick up the box and open the lid. Inside, on a bed of purple velvet, is a simple ring made of jade. Even in the dim light, it glints with a green that draws the eye into its never-ending circle. Oh, Mary whispers, Mama's ring! It's so pretty! You pick up the green ring to examine it closer, and before you can react, Mary puts her thumb through the ring. A flash of green light from the ring makes you blink, and when you open your eyes, Mary is glowing with the same green light. She smiles. Thank you. Now I can rest, she says, and then slowly she fades away. The ring drops back into the box, and she's almost invisible, just the hint of an outline left, when the door slams open and Mr. Grady rushes in. What have you done? What have you done? Mr. Grady bellows. Mary, what have you done? You can barely see it, but Mary smiles wider, sticks out her tongue at Mr. Grady, and fully disappears. You! Mr. Grady yells, pointing at you. You're in very big trouble. Mary is irreplaceable. He's so angry, and you've never seen him like this, and it's really scary. He looks like he can murder you.
Oh, God.
And he will!
His hands clench and unclench. He steps towards you, growling a little, and then he begins to fade away, just as Mary did. Mr. Grady stops and looks at his fading hand. The look on his face changes from anger to terror. No! He moans. You hear the faint laughter of a young girl as Mr. Grady dissolves. Then the shop slowly dissolves around you. In just a couple of minutes, you're in a very normal, well-lit parking lot by a small, very ordinary warehouse. The whole complex is about a tenth the size of the warehouse that you entered earlier today. Completely by yourself, your car is the only one in the parking lot. You get in and drive home. The next day, a package arrives. Inside is a small white box, and inside the box, on a cushion of white satin, is a crystal ring. The ring is a perfectly smooth one, and you feel protected when you wear it. When you took it to a jeweler, she offered you $10,000.
Oh, shit.
Even though she did not know what it was made of. You politely declined. The end.
Andy, you look kind of disappointed about that $10,000.
Yeah.
So much you could have done with that money.
There's so much you could have done.
Well, look,
I can hire
that was the
protection
best
for a
ending.
time.
That's the best ending. You save the child in the warehouse and kill Mr. Grady. Anything where Mr. Grady dies is the best ending.
There you go.
I think you're right.
Also, since we lost our job and our 32 shillings we would have gotten, does that mean like Charlie gives us another shot at the lawn care service business?
Uncle Charlie.
Right? Yeah, old great Uncle Charlie or whatever he was.
Fucking Charlie. If you just let him work, this wouldn't have happened.
No, just sell that damn ring and then I have $10,000 slap in his face.
Yeah, fuck you,
I don't
Charlie.
need your money.
Except I do need your money because $10,000 doesn't go that far. So you gonna hire me, Charlie?
Nope.
Do you slap him in the face again with 10 grand?
I'd
At
do
this
it.
point, I would not hire you if you slap me in the face with money. Like, why would I want to do that?
Because you didn't hire me the first time.
Because what I did was a power move, and now it's my business.
Just take it from Charlie.
How much is this business worth?
More
it
than 10
10,000?
grand. Whap.
It's mine now.
Now you get nothing. It's my business.
All right. This was the escape from the haunted warehouse. Andy, did you like this one more than the Trumpet of Terror?
I don't know. They both had their positives. Trumpet of Terror was goofier.
It was very goofy. It really, yeah. This was actually a little more serious and adult than I was expecting for a book that's supposed to be for 10-year-olds.
Well, at 30, we did a great job.
I mean, we didn't cry.
I
Thought about it.
We mostly, yeah.
When we
Yeah,
had
good
two
ending.
people standing over us while sleeping, I wanted to cry.
Yeah, that's creepy.
All right, I think that's good to wrap this one up. I enjoyed. I like doing these choose your own adventures. It takes me back to a simpler time where you can be in a haunted warehouse and survive. It's like I always wanted to do when I was 10 years old. Oh well. I'm Handy Dandy Andy Jarek, and I hope you all appreciate my crappy voices that I did for some of these people. I am not a great narrator, but I tried. I tried very hard.
I liked your pseudo Boston accent.
Yeah, the pseudo Boston accent. Everybody had a Boston accent except for the little girl who sounded like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it was Mickey Mouse and Joey Wheeler in the same show.
Oh, that's what I was getting at. Thank you for recognizing that. All right, for the Giggle King, Mr. Julian Griffin, and Andy Mysuck, the man with the best name in the whole wide world. Again, I'm Handy Dandy Andy Jarek. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Bracket Up, where we escape from the haunted warehouse. We will see you real soon.